post office for collection, it remains there for a total period of 10 working days. Hi, Gail, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I've got one of my manager named Alison, so I will just transfer this call to her.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for holding the line. Won't be long.
Yep.
Thank you, Gail. Alison, my manager, is here to speak to you regarding your case.
Thank you.
Alison. Hi, this is Alison. How are you today?
Not too bad.
That's good. Who am I speaking to?
Jeanette.
Hi, Jeanette. How can I help you today?
Okay, from my standard letter post delivery person, I've received a red notice to collect a small parcel from the local post office, and it doesn't have a barcode. It has a barcode, but it doesn't have a number. And above the barcode, it says not available. It's a sticker that's been placed on this red card, and on the bottom of the red card it's obviously been taped to something else, and the sticker tape's been torn off and left a bit of the paper there, taped or glued.
Right.
So I have no idea what it is. I had a long discussion with a person last week who said he was a manager, and he had agreed that the parcels would be deposited over the fence at my place because I'm always home and I have constant parcels coming, and I can't go and collect a parcel for fear that I'll miss another parcel, because some couriers continue to deliver up to 5 o'clock.
Okay. So you don't have the tracking number?
No, there's no tracking number on it. They've not put a tracking number on it.
What's your address there,
It's
Jeanette?
34 Whitestone Crescent, Seaford Rise. No, it's 34. 34 Whitestone.
Right.
Yep, the colour white, if you can call it a colour. One word.
One word? Yep.
Crescent, Seaford Rise, South Australia. Sometimes it's down as a circuit, but it's a crescent.
Just bear with me. I'm just going to see if I can find anything. Trying to find a tracking number for this one. I'm not able to at the moment. So what post office does it say that it's sitting at?
It says Seaford LPO, Seaford Licensed Post Office, Commercial Road, Seaford SA 5169.
All right, so I'm just going to grab some information for you. I'm going to give them a call and give you a call back, Jeanette. So you mentioned that you'd spoken to a manager and they said that they were going to get a redelivery.
This was for a different parcel. I can't recollect his name if he gave me it.
I just can't find any reference to any conversation that you've had to anyone previous to now. And so what's the issue? It was not delivered, but you advised that you were home?
The first parcel or this parcel?
Oh, I only thought that there was one.
Well, the first person I spoke to the other manager, the first person I spoke to the manager about last week, it was they came here to the house. I was here. I didn't get out there on time. It was a Saturday and they left it at a post office that was open on Saturday, which is too far away for me to collect physically. But disregarding that, the fact that any parcel that I need to go and collect from the post office, I can't collect, because doing so would mean I would miss another parcel, because all deliveries come up to 5 o'clock, which is when the post offices close, and it's impossible for me to get up there. And the fact is, I have a large post box for the purpose of putting like medium-sized parcels in through the hole, and the box is large and it's quite secure. The post box, my letterbox, is always on security camera monitored 24 hours a day. And if you put it over the fence, it's 1.5 metres to the ground. There's bushes around. No one from the road could actually see unless they came right up to the fence and stuck their head over. It's quite secure where it could be left. And for the local mail delivery person not to put it in the letterbox is a bit ridiculous, because
it could have required a signature, which meant that
no,
they
it
cannot
says
leave it
another
behind.
person can collect, right? It doesn't matter if it needs a signature. Like I said, during COVID, it was fine for everybody to leave them in a safe place. Well, it's fine always to leave them in a safe place at my place, because it's very secure. It's monitored by a number of cameras.
Any parcels, sorry to interrupt.
You're right.
Any parcels that do require a signature, Jeanette, cannot be left behind.
Well, they did during COVID, and if they did during COVID, well, they can do it any other time.
No, that is not correct. We
Well,
won't
it
be leaving
is.
anything that requires a signature behind.
Well, it doesn't say this requires a signature. This does not say it requires a signature.
Yeah, well, we don't know that at this stage. So
well, I'm saying it's not ticked on the card. There's no signature required.
Yeah, so the card doesn't even have a tracking number on it.
Okay,
so
well,
it obviously doesn't have.
Well, that's not my fault. It doesn't have a tracking number on it, is it? It's Australia Post's fault it doesn't have a tracking number on it. Well, I've got nothing to do with what's on the card.
They haven't filled out all the details. Do you have like an email or something from the sender that would have the tracking number on it?
I have no idea who the sender is. How could I know? I've got many parcels coming.
Right.
And I pay for delivery to my door, not for delivery to a post office. So my contract is my contract.
If it does require a signature and you're not home to take acceptance of
then
that,
Australia Post has to come back on another day to get my signature, because the fact is,
we're not able to do that.
You don't understand. You are subcontracted from my purchaser, the person I purchase of. You are subcontracted from me. I pay the delivery. I pay for delivery to my door. So you don't. No, it does not matter what your policy is. I pay for delivery to my door, not to a post office.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, Jeanette, and I understand that it can be a little bit inconvenient when you do have to go and collect a parcel.
No, you don't.
When a sender pays us to send an item, that includes one attempted delivery.
The sender is paying you on behalf of me. And whether you have a policy for one delivery, it's your business. It's not legally binding on anyone.
It is.
No, it's not. Okay, I'm sorry, Alison. What legislation, give me the name of the legislation, that one delivery attempt is legally binding on Australia Post?
It's in our terms and conditions, Jeanette.
Give me, no, Alison, do you understand Australian consumer law?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm certainly not a lawyer. If you wanted to speak to your lawyer about
no. A normal person who is insisting certain rights under consumer law needs to know what they're talking about. Okay? So you can't say that I am not entitled to access to my parcel under your conditions.
Look, nobody's suggesting that at all, Jeanette.
Yes, you are. You're saying
you have access to your parcel. You'll just need to collect it from the post office.
No, I paid My contract with my supplier was delivery to my house. You don't get to
And an attempt
reinvent
was
the
made.
contract between myself and my supplier. Australia Post does not have the legal right to rewrite a contract between the original contract between myself and the supplier. You don't have that right.
Now, definitely not trying to do that at all, Jeanette.
That's exactly what
I'm just
Australia
letting you
Post
know
is
that
doing and what
it
you're
sounds
trying
like
to
that
enforce.
it sounds like we've made the attempt, and if you were not available to take acceptance of the parcel on that occasion, it's gone through to the post office where you can
That's
collect
not
it at your
acceptable.
earliest convenience.
That's not acceptable.
Yeah, I'm sorry that it doesn't suit in this
Well,
instance.
perhaps I need to
like
speak to your
Alison.
Perhaps I need to speak to your supervisor.
They're not available at the moment, but I can absolutely get a call back for you.
You
Jeanette.
can't call me back because this number is a no call back number.
Do you have another number
No,
that I can call you on?
I do not.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's not in today.
Right.
That I can
Well,
get her
you
to
need
call
to
you
find
back.
someone else.
I'm not going to be able to get someone for you at the moment,
Alison,
Jeanette.
you need to find someone else.
I cannot find somebody else for you at the moment, Jeanette. But if you can give me some details, I can get someone to contact. We can even email you, and then you can call back in if that would work.
Call back on another 13 number.
Yes. Yeah. So if you don't
Okay.
have a number
So,
that we
Alison,
can call
you get
on,
my name, my full name, and my address, and my personal email number, and I get a 13 number and a bunch of anonymous people who don't give me any ID. So not even the system can trace the mail person I spoke to last week. So where's the equality in that?
Give you a call back, we can absolutely give you a call back. I just need a number from you, Jeanette.
I would like to speak to somebody now.
I'm not going to be able to get anyone for you at the moment.
Honestly, Alison, you need to find someone.
If you can just give me a contact number.
I'm sorry, Alison.
There's only a finite number of people that can give you a call,
okay.
and none are available at the
moment.
Do
you understand the legal position right now? Is right now Australia Post has stolen my parcel.
It's not stolen.
It is
From what
stolen.
you told me, it's awaiting collection at the post office.
It's stolen. I paid for delivery to my house, not to some other location. I paid for delivery to my house, not somewhere else controlled by someone else.
And it sounds like that was attempted.
Okay, can you give me your manager's email address, personal email address?
I cannot do that.
Why not?
But I can absolutely get somebody to give you a call
You
back.
asked me for my personal email address. I would like your manager's personal email address for the business.
We don't hand out personal email address, I'm sorry.
So
Jeanette,
you don't have an email address for Australia Post? You don't have an email address within the company of Australia Post?
Oh yes, we have internal contact.
That's the number. That's the email address I want.
But we cannot hand that out, I'm sorry.
And why is that, Alison?
Beg your pardon?
Why is that?
Because it's just our internal policy that we don't hand out.
It's your internal
details.
Policy that you can hide behind a screen? So if I'm going to sue Australia Post, how do I identify you, Alison? Where do I find you?
I'll have my details on this case number that I can give you.
Well, I'm sorry, the other person said that too.
I'll give you the case number. It sounds like the last person didn't give you a case number. You mentioned that you didn't have a case number. Was that correct?
What if the case number doesn't turn up in the records, Alison? How can I identify you?
Yes, it definitely does. Yeah. So
and I meant to take your word for it after I spoke to somebody last week who didn't give me a case number or record the conversation. And all of a sudden, you're an honest person and I'm meant to believe you. Is that it?
Yeah, all our calls are definitely, unless you request otherwise, Jeanette, all your calls are recorded.
Oh, I can assure you I've recorded the call myself. So don't worry about that part of it. That's not the question. The question is identification of the person. How can I even identify you work at Australia Post if you won't even give me an Australia Post contact number or an Australia Post email address? How do I know you do work at Australia Post?
Because you've called through to Australia.
That doesn't mean anything. Does not mean anything. I could have been transferred anywhere else.
I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to convince you, but I most certainly work for Australia Post. I can give you
you give me your manager's email address. You give me your manager's business email address, and I'll be quite happy to email that person.
I can send you an email from this case, Jeanette, that you can reply to, which will say that it's coming from Australia Post, but I cannot hand out a personal email address. I'm sorry.
And will it be a no reply email address?
No, not at all. You can absolutely reply to it.
And who does it go to? Who does the reply email go to?
It'll go to the case that has been created for this call that you've made today with us.
Another anonymous person? And I give another anonymous person my details, and then my details get recorded at Australia Post as somebody who keeps calling and complaining. Is that right?
No, it just goes through to the case on the call that you've made today. And I'll make some notes down about the call and your request to speak to a senior manager. Like I mentioned, there isn't one available at the moment. But if you can put
Is there normally one available every day? Is there normally a manager available every day, or are they just brought in every now and then?
Well, we've only got a few senior managers, so a manager that is over a manager like myself. There's only a few within Australia Post.
What number is a few?
Because we look after the whole of Australia population, they're just not always available to be able to assist on the spot.
And what number is a few?
Say that again, sorry?
What number is a few?
8.
8 managers across Australia. And how would I find those? How would I find those on the Australia Post website?
You cannot. It's through the contact centre that you've called today.
So you can't. No person can find the identification of a manager in Australia Post. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Why is that?
It's just the way our organisation runs.
Well, all care and no responsibility.
Oh, we're definitely taking responsibility, but there's just a process that we have that we need to follow.
Process. Under what legislation is the process authorised?
It's through our terms and conditions that I can still absolutely send through to you, Jeanette.
And your terms and conditions are not valid under law if they breach Australian consumer law.
That would be definitely something you'd need to discuss with a lawyer. As I mentioned, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't.
But you're enforcing a legal premise. If you're enforcing a legal premise as a manager, you have the responsibility to know under what legislation that legal premise is enforced. You have a duty of care. You have a duty of care, a professional duty of care as a manager to know under what authority the law you are claiming is effective.
If you would like me to send through the terms and conditions to you, Jeanette, I can absolutely do that. Definitely.
Terms and conditions are irrelevant if they infringe Australian consumer law.
If you feel like you're being, if your rights are being infringed, you absolutely can speak to your lawyer.
Australia Post has stolen my parcel. So yes, my rights have been infringed. My parcel has been stolen. I paid for delivery from my customer. Well, let me explain this to you. Let me explain this to you as clearly as I can. I paid for delivery from the supplier directly to me. I did not pay for delivery to be taken somewhere else to a third party for me to collect from that third party. I paid for express delivery from them to me, however long that might take, but directly from them to me, not from them to you for me to collect. You do not get to take custody of my parcel. You do not get to rewrite the conditions of the contract between myself and the supplier. Do you understand? Is that clear enough?
I don't know what the details of your contract with the
I've just
vendor
told
are,
you.
but
I've
we're
just told you,
required to
Alison.
attempt delivery on one occasion, and we've done that by the sounds of it.
Alison, are you able to hear me clearly? Did you hear what I just said or not?
I definitely heard what you said, yes.
Well, are you being selectively ignorant? Is that the thing, or are you just not being able to understand?
The situation.
Well, I've told you that the general delivery person, because of your terms and conditions that obviously infringe Australian consumer law, because they are rewriting the contract between myself and my supplier, your general delivery person has legally stolen my parcel by taking it somewhere else. I don't care what Australia Post terms and conditions are. I don't care if Australia Post is the government. It makes no difference. You don't get to rewrite my contract between myself and my supplier without my consent. Can you understand that?
You need to speak to your lawyer about that.
I don't need to speak to my lawyer. I know enough about the law to be able to speak for myself. I've just explained it to you very clearly.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the situation. We have attempted to...
Is that your professional opinion, Alison? This is not the situation. It's your professional opinion that Australia Post is allowed to rewrite the contract between myself and my supplier because it's your terms and conditions authorise that. Is that your professional opinion as a manager, Alison?
I'm not legally trained. So
no, you don't need to be legally trained to answer a question. You don't need to be legally trained to answer a question. Is that your position, professional position as a manager?
What was the question, sorry?
Is it your professional opinion as a manager that Australia Post is authorised to rewrite an Australian consumer law contract between two parties?
So the question is that's just not the case. So the question is not able to be answered.
It doesn't matter whether you think it's the case. I'm asking
that I cannot provide.
I'm asking you as a manager. It's not relevant. It's irrelevant whether you're talking about this circumstances or any circumstance. It's a general question. Is it your position as a manager that Australia Post is allowed to rewrite a consumer contract between two parties?
Like I mentioned, I'm not legally able to talk about anybody's
You're a manager.
Contract,
you need to be able to make an executive decision.
And by the sounds of it, without being able to check the details because you don't have the tracking number
It's not my fault I don't have a tracking number, Alison. You're saying it like it's my fault. It's not my fault.
Not at all. Like I was going to be checking with the post office, if you recall. So I did want to try and look into this for you, Jeanette. But, you know, if you're asking me to give you a legal opinion on it...
Alison, did I ask you for a legal opinion?
I cannot do that.
Alison.
You're asking me to talk about changing in contracts, and I won't be doing that.
Alison.
That's a question for your lawyer.
Alison, did I at any stage ask you for a legal opinion?
You're asking me for opinion on changing of a contract, and in my view, that's asking about a legal opinion, which I'm just not able to.
You are manipulating my words, Alison. That is not exactly what I said. You said that it was your policy or your company's policy to redirect parcels to a post office. So I asked you in response.
Yes, correct. Correct.
So I asked you in response was, is it therefore your position as a manager that Australia Post is legally authorised to rewrite a contract between two parties? That's all I asked you.
About your
as a manager.
With a sender.
I know you don't. It's a general question, Alison. It's very simple. As a manager.
We are contracted to attempt one delivery on all parcels, Jeanette.
Under what legal authority?
And that sounds like
under what? Alison.
Under our terms and conditions.
So then we're going back.
I can't get into any laws with you.
Okay, we'll
but
see.
I can tell you, under our terms and conditions, we will attempt delivery. If for whatever reason you're unable to take collection of that parcel, it will generally go back to the post office.
You need to inform yourself that your terms and conditions that you enforce as a manager, you need to inform yourself they are infringing Australian consumer law and therefore illegal.
Yeah, we would be working with the Australian consumer law to ensure that is just not the case.
Who is the Australian consumer law? What do you mean you'd be working with the Australian consumer law?
Whoever it is that looks after the writing of our terms and conditions to ensure that we're not infringing on anybody's rights.
Well, you are. They are. You have. You've stolen my parcel, Alison. You, Australia Post, you have stolen my parcel.
It's not stolen, Jeanette.
It is stolen. You've stolen it. You've stolen it and you've told me I must do something to get it back. That's holding my parcel to ransom. Do you understand that? It's very simple logic, Alison. It's not legal jargon. It's simple logic. I paid for delivery to my house. I did not pay. I'll tell you. I'll give you a suggestion what you need to do to resolve this, Alison. Okay, you contact the Seaford Post Office, and you find out the Seaford SA because there's a Seaford Post Office in Victoria. So try not to be confused with that one. This is a Seaford Post Office in South Australia. If you contact them and tell them that there's a parcel there for me that has a no identification on it, that was attempted to be delivered today, and I'm told on this thing can be collected at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So presumably the delivery person will be arriving before 4 o'clock this afternoon at the delivery point. So you can tell the people at the Seaford Post Office, South Australia, that they need to tell the delivery driver to put it in my letterbox or put it over my fence, and do that for every parcel hereafter. Okay? You've got that, Alison? Do you have that? To get the signature, you can take a photograph of it. Alison, hold on. Hold on. It doesn't matter if it requires a signature. I'll take responsibility because I have that letterbox on security camera. And if the delivery person puts it in the letterbox or puts it over the fence, it can be seen by the security camera. And then therefore, Australia Post does not have any further responsibility after that. Do you understand? So I'm giving you verbal authority, and I'll actually be posting this on the internet for you, if you like.
I can definitely speak to the delivery centre and see whether they're happy to do that for you, Jeanette.
Alison, as manager, you need to make this a permanent thing, because I will not accept Australia Post stealing my parcels and holding them to ransom at the post office for me to collect. Do you understand? I will not do it.
Definitely not stolen or being held to ransom.
They are. Do I have possession? Do I have possession? No. Australia Post has possession. The only... Alison, the only authority Australia Post has with my parcel is to take it from one point to another. 2 points. Pick up, drop off, right? And any sorting process in the interim. There is no authority by me or anyone else for Australia Post to redirect it to somewhere else for me to collect. No authority, none. There is no lawful authority.
There will be a point where, let me just check with the delivery centre, okay?
Sure.
And I'll come back to you.
Yep, I'll be waiting right here.
All right, what is your best contact number?
You can't call me back.
Jeanette, I'm going to need a contact number to give you a call back on.
I'll just wait on the line, Alison. I'll wait on the line.
I'm going to be able to get onto them.
I'll wait on the line, Alison.
All right. Hold the line. You could be waiting for some time.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. I can go and make a cup of coffee and wait.
All right. No worries.
Thank you.
Please let us know if you do not want this to occur. This is Jessie. How can I help today?
Hello. I was given a message.
Hello, this is Jessie. How can I help today?
Hello. Hello.
Is anyone there?
Yes, someone is here. Hello.
Hello, this is Jessie. How can I help?
Hello.
Hi, this is Jessie. How can I help today?
Is that you repeating the same things, or can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, heard you the first 3 times. Somebody called me. I returned the call and I got a message to call this number. Somebody told me they'd sent me an email, but I have no email. There's no email in my inbox. There's no email in my spam. There's no email in my deleted emails.
Okay, and do you have a case number?
No.
That I could...
No, it's in the email, I presume.
Okay. Was this about a parcel?
Certainly was.
Do you have the tracking number for the parcel?
No.
Okay. I'll try to locate the tracking number. Just bear with me.
Yep.
What was the address on the parcel?
34 Whitestone Crescent, Seaford Rise, SA 5169.
Just bear with me.
Yep.
Okay, and was this about, there's a parcel that was awaiting collection. Would it be about that one?
Probably, yes. There's actually 2, but the last one is at Seaford.
Okay, just bear with me. I'll get that up.
There's one at Seaford and one at Port Noarlunga. They're supposed to both be re-delivered to my place.
Okay, I think I found the case for that one.
Sorry, did you ask me a question?
I said I found the case for that one. I'm just reading through it.
All right.
So did you get a manager callback? Is that right? Was it the team manager who left a voicemail?
I don't know. The first lady just said Australia Post calling and hung up. The second lady said her name was Mona, I think. I had 2 calls within a couple of minutes. It was yesterday. I left on my voice message because I can't get calls to the actual voicemail because I can't get calls to the actual phone number. I've blocked incoming calls.
Okay, so with this case, with this item, because it was signature required parcel, we aren't able to leave them in a safe place because we would be violating the terms and conditions, and there's laws that protect that. So the sender would have paid for the signature requirement, so we're not able to leave it in a safe place.
Well, see, the thing is, if you don't deliver it to my place, it's going back to the sender. I was here when the person dropped the card in the letterbox.
Okay.
Without a tracking number. It's the regular mail person, not the large parcel delivery person. He's perfectly okay. It's the regular mail person. I'm pretty sure he's a Freemason. I've got a lot of history with criminal Freemasons and a website to prove it.
Okay. Did you want me to see if there was a team manager available to talk to you about this
Oh,
one?
look, I tried this for a couple of hours yesterday. I'm not really interested. All I want is the parcel to be re-delivered to my place, or it goes back to the sender and I get a refund from them. Simple as that.
Okay, well, we've put through the request to ask that the delivery centre organise a redelivery. They will not be organising a redelivery because they've said that there was an attempt, that they definitely rang the doorbell, so they won't organise redelivery.
Garbage. They did not ring the doorbell. Did not. I'm inside all the time, close to the monitoring the screen and next to the doorbell. They did not ring the doorbell.
Okay.
As soon as the contract is between you and the supplier for this rewriting my consumer affairs contract with the supplier, how about you contact the supplier and ask them if they're happy to accept the goods returned or whether they want to allow the product to be delivered without a signature. That would probably be the good response. If I didn't make a contract with the Australian Consumer Law contract with a seller to have a signature on delivery, that's a contract between you and them. It's got nothing to do with me. I am not bound by that contract.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you want to get in contact with the sender,
No. You've made the contract with the sender, not me. I did not make the contract with the sender. Australia Post did. I am not contacting the sender. Only reason I'll contact them is to is ask for a refund once it's returned.
Okay, well, what will probably happen is this will be returned to sender if it's passed.
Yeah, and I'll be suing Australia Post for negligence. Do you understand? This has happened about 20 times.
Okay, and are you sure you don't want me to check if there was a team manager available to speak to right now?
Did I not do that yesterday? Is that not written on that note, in those notes you just read?
I can see that they organised a call back.
Alison, was it not?
Yep, and she organised a call back, and I think that might be the voicemail left was from a manager.
And so where is she now?
I can see if someone is available.
Goodo.
Do you mind if I put you on hold while
Fine, I'll wait for another hour today. This will be the third day in a row I've waited for an hour for someone. Off you go, I'll wait.
Okay, I won't be too long.
Don't forget that if you have a tracking number, you can get the latest scan events on your items via our website at www.ozpost.com.au. While you are there, if your article is not out for delivery as yet, why not sign up to get email alerts from Australia Post when updates occur?
Hi, thanks for holding. So I'm trying to get onto a manager, but at the moment they seem to be all busy. Now, they're not able to call your number, is that correct? It blocks.
That's correct.
Calls.
That's correct.
And there's no other number that could be called?
No. I don't give my number to government anymore because I get a constant array of spam calls afterwards.
Okay, fair enough, yep. I'm just trying to think of a way to do this because I can see that there's already a manager callback request put through, but if they can't call you, that can obviously be very difficult.
They left a message and asked me to call this number.
Yes.
So I'm simply following their instructions. I was told there would be an email sent to me, and one of the messages was, ring us after you get the email. There's no email. None.
Okay, and I'll just double check. What was your email, just to make sure we've got the spelling correct?
Yep. Australian.consumer. Full stop, not the word dot.
And that's, that's Australian. I think we might have had Australia instead of Australian. I'll just change that for you now. And just to confirm your first and last name?
Jeanette Francis.
And just your contact number?
Well, you can't ring me on the contact number, remember?
Yes, just to confirm, just for privacy reasons, just to make sure, because before I can change any emails in your profile, I have to make sure I'm speaking to the correct person.
0490833008, and anybody who's read my website knows that phone number.
Okay, so what I might do is I'll leave a comment here for the manager and just let them know that the email was wrong, the email provided was wrong. And let them know that I've put the correct email there. So I'll let them know that you've requested that they email you to that email address and either organise, if the callback can't be organised, just the communication can be done through email that way.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Is there anything
the else? only outcome that I will accept is that it's delivered to my place over the fence.
Okay, I'll
like
put
I've
that
said,
in the comments as well.
Yeah, well, perhaps it's not been written in the comment. Like I've said to 3 people allegedly who are managers so far, my letterbox is large. It can fit reasonably large, small articles, and it's constantly monitored 24/7 by a security camera. and the distance from the top of the letterbox to the ground on the other side of my fence is 1.5 metres, and the area is completely enclosed and secure from the public. It's a secure location, and everybody was quite happy to do the same, to leave everything here in COVID and take a photo, and now all of a sudden you can't do it. That's absurd.
Yeah, it's just because
I don't want any excuses. I'm sorry. I know you've been told to say specific things. It's irrelevant, okay? Either it gets delivered here or it goes back. Simple.
Okay, I'll leave that in the comments there, and I'll request that someone email you instead of calls you.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about this, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
I always have a lovely day. Bye.
Okay, see you later.